In a world where sports have stretched beyond the fabric of reality and podcasts became as common as potholes, there were two guys in Morgantown, West Virginia who desired to do something different. These two guys came up with an idea to bring real life back to the arena of sports and hopefully be somewhat entertaining along the way. These two guys are certainly no experts, and they're definitely not comedians. They just think they are. This is the Extra Medium Podcast, and here are those two guys.
And here we go. Welcome, everyone, to Season 2, Episode 4 of the Extra Medium Sports Podcast. Why did we come up with such an unusual name? Well, it's because we are just two plus-size guys living in an extra medium world. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Justin Jackson, sports editor of the Dominion Post.
And I'm Matthew Amory, former WVU lineman and state champion at Morgantown High.
We have the starts of winter high school sports season to discuss, as well as our take on the upcoming announcement on the Kennedy Award, which is given annually to the state's top high school football player. University High punter Jimmy the Leg Gregg made history.
Made history. And could he make history again for the best nickname maybe ever in West Virginia high school sports?
If there was an award for best nickname,
he would get it hands down. Well, how do you make history?
Jimmy the Leg Gregg made history earlier this week by winning the Walker Award, becoming the first punter to ever win the Special Teams Award in the state of West Virginia.
That's freaking awesome.
We will also have Michael Griffith of the Dominion Post in studio here to help us break it all down.
We will also discuss the current state of affairs with the WVU men's basketball team, which is now 8-4 following last weekend's 89-88 loss in double overtime against Ohio State. Tough loss.
Matt, I also, as a former college athlete in the pre-NIL era.
Oh, it hurts.
I want to get your take on a subject that, this is kind of just consistently kind of burrowed a spot in my head. But first, tell the good people who our sponsor is.
I'd be glad to. The Extra Medium Sports Podcast is brought to you by the Hotel Morgan. Whether you're interested in hosting a sophisticated corporate retreat, a joyful baby shower, or a spectacular wedding reception, Hotel Morgan provides a backdrop steeped in nearly a century of Morgantown history. Reimagined with boutique comfort and 1920s era charm, we take pride in making every event a memorable and stylish experience.
Matt, where can you find the podcast?
Hey, you can always find a link to the Extra Medium Sports Podcast at www.dominionpost.com or find us on social media at Spotify or YouTube.
Matt, this is something I've really had on my mind for the last couple of years here, really. But
yeah,
you played football at WVU in the early to mid-2000s.
Yeah.
Some of your teammates, names like Pat White, Steve Slayton,
those are my buddies.
Guys everyone's have heard of.
West Virginia WVU football legends.
Two of the all-time greats. They would have made millions collectively, right?
Buku bucks, bro.
Back in the day, had the college football rules been the same as they are now in the current NIL rules, as it were, they were just normal college kids, right?
Yes.
Who just happened to be superstar college athletes. On the basketball side, I'm kind of interested in this. On the basketball side, back in those same days, you had Kevin Pittsnoggle, Mike Gansey, Patrick Beeline, Joe Airbear.
Oh, great names.
Guys who were revitalizing, bringing about a revival in Mountaineer basketball. Did the football guys go to the basketball games back in those days?
Oh, yeah, we did. And we supported each other. I actually remember John Beeline walking in to our first class. John Beeline walked his players in. It was Dior Fisher, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Big
Kevin
Dior.
Pittsnoggle and John Beeline. So those were my Patrick Beeline. Golly.
Well, John was the coach.
Right. And Patrick Beeline. My apologies. Shout out to the legend over there. We supported each other. We loved it. Also, that was coming off a controversy where there was who did they hire? The basketball team hired and then he left.
Oh, that was the whole Dan Doc.
So,
yeah.
And we were getting a new coach too, so we all kind of like, holy crap, this is crazy. This is a lot different. And we bonded. We did bond.
You guys were all in it together.
We were in it together, and we loved the basketball team. We loved the basketball.
Bunch of college kids having fun.
A bunch of college kids having fun.
Yeah.
But it was more, and when you mention those names, it was more than just a state revival of West Virginia basketball. That run in the tourney, it was Kevin Pittsnoggle was a household name. So the amount of buku bucks that would have stemmed from that, and also when you talk about like Pat White and Steve Slayton, remember back in those days, you go to the book exchange, you see their number up, their jerseys, and you just think, golly.
How much? Right.
How much could they be missing? How much could they be missing? And it's just, it's preached, and it was solid. It was law back then. Hey, we're giving you a solid education.
None of them earned a dime for their name, image, or likeness, which is what NIL stands for back in those days. They had a scholarship, and that was about it. Have I stretched the truth at all yet?
You have not stretched the truth. You have not stretched the truth whatsoever.
Now, here's what kind of, I don't know if bugs me is the right term or not. But
Okay.
Here's what my concern is. So the NIL era, if that's what you want to call it, really kind of began, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? It's, less than a decade ago.
Yeah.
You've heard all kinds of stories to the extreme measures. What some of the top name college athletes, guys like Caleb Williams, when they were at USC, Oklahoma, making $3-4 million a year. Obviously, the guy at the quarterback this year made hit one. I don't know if history is the right word, but he starts off at Tennessee, holds out for a bigger NIL deal, goes to ends up going to UCLA, kind of becomes the first holdout in the NIL era.
And the UCLA guy went to Tennessee.
Right. So, I mean, these are the extreme measures. Now, not every college athlete out there is making $3-4 million a year. Some are making $10,000, or some are making maybe less than that. Some are making $1 million. Some are making $200,000. There's wide varieties of the range of NIL.
So would it be safe to say it varies based on how much you're contributing to your team?
Well, it depends on your sport, obviously, the interest that the sport garners. And
so football and basketball would be
right.
like what we're thinking are the two highest paying, the most popular.
Here's my situation, though.
Okay, what's the situation?
So since the NIL era has begun, WVU athletics have not, when it comes to men's basketball and football, have not been successful as they were in the pre-NIL era. Now, from a media standpoint, I'm kind of interested in your take on this because you were once a college athlete, and now you're kind of a member of the media right now.
Yeah.
Being a part of the podcast. My question is this: how should the media recognize college athletes today? In the sense that if you're a young man or lady being paid upwards of a good chunk of money, and maybe you don't pan out, or maybe you're not performing.
This is a wonderful question.
Or maybe you're not performing up to that investment. What is a fair level of criticism? Are they still a college kid, or are they a paid athlete?
So everything in me, just because the way I grew up and the NIL didn't exist, wants to still say they're an amateur. But looking and evaluating it now, I think these are professional athletes. And it is situational. It is a case-by-case basis. But let's just say Coach Rod coaching me. When I was a young pup making mistakes, we had a lot of injuries. Every now and then I would get a chance to show and say, hey, Amory's a young pup. He's got a lot of work to do. He coached me as such. Coached me hard. Coached me, got everything out of it. But had I made those same mistakes making, I don't know, $50,000, $100,000 being paid, I think he can come down on me harder. I do think with the introduction of money, the amounts of money it is, it
changes the equation.
It changes the equation from an amateur to professional. Now, I'm new to media. What that would mean to me in media, now you guys help me with this, does that mean we can say more about a poor performance?
Well, that's my question. I don't know. And I guess that's what I wanted your take on. Because here's the thing. I can think back to the pre-NIL days, from days covering West Virginia. I'm thinking of guys like Joe Alexander. I'm thinking of guys like Deshaun Butler.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I'm thinking of
Joe
guys
Alexander.
Right.
I'm
thinking of guys like Javon Carter.
God.
These are guys who would have made millions off their name in college.
Yes.
Because of the success they had and because of the talent they had, but didn't earn a dime. They earned their scholarship money, and that was pretty much about it because they obviously didn't play in the NIL era. The way I kind of remember it, and I might be totally wrong on this, but you thought of those guys, even with their immense talent and their importance to the team, you didn't think of them as the star pro athlete. You kind of handled them with kid gloves.
Correct.
To a certain degree, because you thought of them as a college kid trying to work his way up into being a professional, but certainly wasn't a professional at that point in time, and you treated him as such. I don't know if the case is still the same now.
So let me ask you this. Do you remember the Mike Gundy? Come at me, I'm 40, I'm a man.
Right.
Does he defend that quarterback the same
way? God, that's a good question.
If the quarterback's making $5 million,
right.
The quarterback's making more than Gundy. Does he defend that the same way? I don't know.
That's a good question.
I don't know. But you make wonderful points, and you say, I don't know if I'm right. I don't think anybody knows. I don't even think the regulation knows.
I think it's a question that many sports writers are asking themselves across the country who cover college athletics. I mean, what level of criticism is fair to a guy who might be making $2-3 million a year? What level of criticism is fair for a kid who might be making $2-3 million a year and then holds out and wants and asks for double?
Yeah. And,
right.
And it's not like that's easy stuff to find. Let's say, well, the star athlete we can assume is making a lot of money, but somebody came in and had a poor performance. But I don't know they got $10 million in NIL. That's throwing a number out there.
In essence, you're still talking about 19, 20
19,
kids.
20.
Right.
You're still developing, and I mean, even if you have a pocket full of cash or not, as a kid, it's still going to hurt. Especially
That's the other side of the argument. I mean, it's not like they're older.
Yeah, it's not like they're
right.
older, and the passion still exists. But as a society, we're like, well, they have money. We can let the floodgates open and rip them until, or do we still be gentle? Do we still, I don't know. That's a wonderful question.
Here's the best example I could come up with. The 2023-2024 hoop season at WVU was a major NIL year at WVU. Jesse Edwards, the center, was brought in from Syracuse. Kerr Kriisa was the point guard brought in from Arizona. These are all through the transfer portal. Raekwon Battle was brought in from Montana State. He'd previously played at Washington. Those were the three big transfers that they got out of the portal. They found some boosters, shelled out some NIL bucks, got them on campus. They combined to go 9-23 that year. Now, there are all kinds of reasons why they went 9-23. You might remember that was when the whole Bob Huggins situation
that was a tough year.
Was going on, and he was forced to resign. Josh Eilert was brought in as the interim. Raekwon Battle was ruled ineligible at the beginning of the year. He had to fight his way through a federal court ruling before he got his eligibility. Edwards got hurt, missed some time.
A lot of adversity that season, my gosh.
A lot of adversity that season, but still millions of dollars.
Yes,
paid,
millions of dollars from
paid
NIL,
for that
regardless
team
of the yes.
To lose 23 games, which is a school record, the most losses ever in one season in WVU basketball history. So, I mean, how do you look at that? I mean, are those guys paid? I don't know what the word is. They didn't live up to expectations for one reason or another. Is that a very sour note to the story?
I mean, how could it not be if you try to empathize? I don't know if empathize is the right word, but put yourself in the shoes of those donors. We were talking about that. Is that a good investment? And not to change the subject here, but just to see how hard it's going to be to continue to get that amount of money to your team. But the frustration from as a media member, I don't know. I don't know. Is it a case by case per player? Do I need to research each player before I say anything about them? That is a tough situation to be in. This
all kind of brings me, we're going to circle around on this. This all kind of brings me to the current situation on the men's basketball team. Trayson Eaglestaff, young man who is a senior, transferred in from North Dakota State, where he was a big-time college basketball player, dropped 40 points on Alabama last year, also scored 51 in another game. He enters the transfer portal, comes into WVU this year with a lot of hype and hoopla, expectations. Now, I don't want to. I've got it off the record, basically, kind of what his NIL package is. I don't have it confirmed. I don't have it official, so I'm not going to just start throwing numbers out there. But we can assume it's a good chunk of
significant
change.
amount.
It's a significant amount of money, in the state of West Virginia. Trayson went 1 for 9 in that loss to Ohio State that you were talking about last weekend. He did not play in either of the 2 overtime sessions because he had basically been benched in the second half. He is shooting 36% from the field so far, playing just over 23 minutes a game, and he's averaging 8.2 points per game. Now, there are a number of great things to say about Trayson Eagles.
Absolutely.
He is a fantastic teammate. He is learning how to evolve his game with other similarly athletic teammates.
Yeah.
Talented teammates. Learning to play defense really, for the first time in his career. He's got a lot of moving parts with his game. At the same time, you throw those numbers out there and it's just not, it's just not what you expected at the beginning of the season. So
you're saying the way he's playing is not matching probably the amount that he's making.
Right. It doesn't. Whatever the investment was, you would put his numbers up to that investment, and you say, hey, something's just not checking out here. Now, there's a long way to go this season.
Yeah, still time left.
But at what point does it become a fair topic of discussion to simply say, hey, this young man has not yet delivered the goods? It's already out there on social media. People are...
Gosh, social media, you look wrong and they're all over. Can I add another interesting twist to this, a little plot twist, a little look from the different views? What about the athlete's perspective?
Sure.
Because...
Hit me.
Mine is, I got a talent. These guys want me. I'm a good fit. And when the coach is in your ear, it kind of builds your confidence a little bit. I can help this team. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to get mines and peace. Because I offer a talent that not many people offer. Now, is that how I would think now? Me personally, absolutely not. But I'm trying to put myself in a confident athlete. Boy, when I had confidence in athleticism, that's a long time ago. But, hey, this is what we agreed to. I signed the thing. I'm giving you my all. Who knows? Maybe there's other variables going on why I'm not performing. And that's what I'm telling myself. I'm not saying anything Eagle staff saying or any part of West Virginia about it. This is just thinking out loud. I'm saying I'm doing my everything. I'm giving this team my all, my soul, my mentals, my physicals. I'm earning this regardless if it's 8.2 points per game. Now, the flip side, if that much money's coming in, you have an expectation for the player. But I don't know. What do you do? How would you even begin?
I kind of like what you're saying, though. From the athlete's perspective, he is, by all accounts, living up to everything that was laid out before him. He shows up for practice. He shows up for class. He's a good teammate. He's not a troublemaker. And just because shots haven't gone in for him,
correct?
Right.
It's an interesting. I don't know what's going on with these NIL negotiations and what's in these contracts. Evidently, they have agents.
They include buyouts and agents.
Well, where does it stop? What's the slippery slope? Are we going to have to cap it? And what does that even mean if you cap it? Or are we going to have to put in there, I need you to average this many points per or the NIL fluctuates? It's a slippery slope. Do you have any ideas?
Well, I kind of go back to the Tennessee quarterback situation. So where, or maybe not even in Tennessee, but say maybe you were a 3-star athlete coming out of high school.
Okay.
And Javon Carter would be the perfect example.
Okay.
Javon Carter was not a highly recruited individual coming out of high school. Deuce McBride would be another one. Not a highly recruited individual coming out of high school. Comes to West Virginia, makes a name for themselves, and almost immediately makes a name for themselves. So once, Javon gets into his second year, his third year at WVU, he's obviously outlived, or he's outpaced what the expectations were for him going into college. If he had been playing during the NIL era, he would have been the perfect example of a kid that you would probably say, yeah, he deserves to hold out for more money.
And and that hurts me as a West Virginia fan because I don't feel like we're a stepping stone, but that's what happens. You see it in coaching all the time. But a kid comes in here because West Virginia brought him in here, or West Virginia's staff brought him in here. The kid may not have a shot anywhere else. other than West Virginia, is getting NIL money, stays for 2 years, build a wonderful thing, and then leaves.
Well, that's right.
I mean, it's kind of given a, what finger is sticking up to everyone else. And
well, I think that's why you see a lot of buyout clauses included in these NIL deals now.
I don't even know they have buyout clauses.
They didn't. And,
until we realized we needed them with the.
They didn't originally until guys started making $3-4 million a year, and then they move on to another school the following year.
Justin, let me ask you this: do you think this is going to continue going on? Gosh, I wish I had NIL era when I was young, man.
What would you have done? What would you have done with NIL back in the day?
So when I was coming up, the recruiting services were becoming popular, Rivals, and you would get Stars and all that, and you would have these people call you all the time, and I became my own press secretary.
Nice.
And I asked Coach McNew,
Matt Amory, how may I help you?
Matthew Amory, welcome to the Matthew Amory LLC. I asked Coach McNew, I was like, well, how many sacks did I have? He goes, I don't keep track of that. In my mind, I was like, well, 16 sounds good. And this is bad.
So that's what you told him.
Can I tell you what? You want to know what happened? One day I got a call from USA Today. It was for an All-American. He's like, you had 16 sacks? I said, yes, sir, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, I did. I can show you that now. But anyway. But imagine
16 tackles?
No, I maybe had 16 lunches before the game. But you take that, and instead of pushing for your own agenda to get more stars, get more interest, get more recruiting, get more looks, you're pushing for money. I think I could do that pretty well. My NIL was a guy at Hatfields and McCoy's in the mountain layer. He found out I played football. He said, son, you can have donuts. And I was like, yeah, cool, man. And he said, you haven't stopped by. I'm getting kind of offended. So I stopped by. Next thing you know, I became an offensive lineman.
Right.
I put on about 40 pounds of fat. But it's a tough situation. I don't know where to go from this, but golly, I wish I had.
Well, let me ask you this real quick. If say you were a 5-star kid coming out of high school.
Okay.
And you went to WVU, or you went to Ohio State or Penn State, wherever you decided to go to college. You went to WVU. Expectations would have been high for you. If you had been one of those NIL kids making, whatever, $500,000, $800,000, whatever, would you hold yourself to a higher standard as an athlete?
I would hold myself to a higher standard, and where are all the zeros coming from?
Right.
Where do the zeros?
And if the media started to, and you weren't starting, maybe you weren't playing, maybe you weren't living up to those expectations, and the media started calling you out, started mentioning it, what's the situation there? How does that hit Matt Amory?
I say, kiss my cash. Kiss my cash. If you want me to be honest with you, because just knowing the 5-star, it's not like they're going in there half. Variables could be. If you're going in there giving it your all, doing what you're supposed to be doing, being a good teammate, heading to class, doing what you're supposed to be doing, kiss my cash, guys.
Here's the other side of it. And here's what I know for sure. The booster, or more likely the boosters, who have been responsible for shelling out all the millions of dollars lately to the WVU athletes, and the wins just haven't really
Can I stop right there? So this NIL money is coming from boosters?
The NIL
it's not
money
like
comes
Joe
from
Schmo paying for their tuition.
There is a revenue sharing model, which that comes from the school, and that's
copy.
That was part of the House settlement. You might have heard about that over the summer.
Yes.
And that is the $20.3 million raised by each school that they pay out directly to their college athletes. It's split up among the different sports: football, basketball, women's basketball, tennis, swimming, so on and so forth. NIL is a completely different thing. NIL is money coming from boosters to recruits that sign at the school, players who are already at the school and might have turned into stars, and you give them NIL money to keep them at the school. That's the difference between.
So
NIL,
essentially, like it's a fundraising to get that money.
That's what it is. Right.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
And here's, basically my take on it from the booster standpoint. If you're shelling out all this money, and there hasn't been a lot of wins that come with it, what I know is that those boosters may have a lot of money, but I'm not taking investment advice from them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great point. When does it become, hey, I want you to get this kid, I'll give you that much money? I don't know. Also, as a booster, what about if you give a couple million and the kid leaves? Do you know that's a part of the game? And are you still inclined to give money? Would
you give it again if you've already been?
It would be hard for me to say. Yeah, say, Coach. Well, what can we do to get this kid to stay? And is that even my question to ask? I mean, yes and no. You could argue it both ways.
That's our take on NIL. We certainly hope things improve, right?
Yes.
Want nothing but the best. Matt, hey, one more time. Who's our sponsor?
I'm glad you asked. The Extra Medium Sports Podcast is brought to you by the Hotel Morgan. Host your guests in an elegant setting utilizing our refined meeting spaces, including 2 dedicated boardrooms and state-of-the-art conference technology. Elevate your event with delicious catering and craft cocktail service delivered by our on-site cafe and bar, Anvil and Axe.
It's now time to bring in Michael Griffith of the Dominion Post.
The legend!
Before we get into the Kennedy Award and what UHS punter Jimmy Gregg just accomplished, basketball season has begun in the state of West Virginia.
Let's go.
We've already seen Eli Karpinski of University High. He dropped 30 points on Parkersburg High last week. Michael, who else has grabbed your eye, and what's your take? Early take so far?
Yeah, early take is that basketball season is starting just as well as football season did for our area. It's
Let's
pretty
go.
nice. I think the girls' teams started out 8-0 combined, and the boys' teams were 6-0 combined, which is good so far. So I think a few more games have happened since then, but yeah, like he said, Eli Karpinski, the first game against Parkersburg, dropped 30 points. He also had 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He shot 11 of 14 from the floor, and had 4 triples.
I couldn't even do that with my creative player on 2K. Holy moly.
Put the sliders up if you want those kind of numbers up.
Yeah, you got to put the sliders up.
And what's interesting about that is he's like the only player in their starting 5 that wasn't a football player.
Really?
If you go to a university high school game, you're going to hear a lot of names that
So he's already in basketball shape.
He was already in basketball shape. This man's had a ball in his hand way before the 1st of December. So,
well, give me the scoop on Eli. I mean, he's a name I haven't really heard. I mean,
right.
Has he been? Was he a junior, senior?
He's a senior this year. A little bit of a breakout player last year. University did go to the state tournament last year. Kind of like their football team, another really young team last year. Brought back their entire starting 5, besides Chase Adams, but he was a transfer last year that came in. But yeah, I mean, he was doing a little bit of everything. And also shout out to Khalil Lewis, KK Lewis. He had 17 points, 10 rebounds, and a couple of thunderous dunks. 2 alley-oops and
I love
one
me
on
a
the fast
dunk,
break.
man.
And you know what? I got to give a shout out to Joe Schmidl, their head coach, because they have a play that's written up for him. That's drawn up for him, and they called it out of a timeout. Ben was there; he might remember. But they called it out of a timeout. He just came right on the back door and lobbed right into the perfect spot, and he threw it down. So
looking like NBA Jam.
They're
going to
be fun to watch. 94 points scored by UHS in their
What?
first game. They played tonight, which is Tuesday, at home against Fort Hill, excuse me, which is always a pretty good athletic program. So that'll be interesting to see how they do.
The state rankings are the coaches polls out?
Yeah,
for
I did
basketball?
see. Yeah, there was a coaches poll released yesterday. And Quad A, we have GW at the top. They're returning the runner-up for Player of the Year, Noah Lewis. He's a D1 prospect right now, and bring back a couple good sophomores freshmen from last year that are sophomores now. Spring Mill in number 2, rightfully so. They're the defending state champions. They did lose a couple players, Caleb Thomas, one of the Anderson brothers last year, but they still have Akwesi Opoku Achampong. Do not forget that name. He's going to be a dark horse.
That was one name?
Yeah, was that 3
It
names?
was
or
one
that was one
name.
name?
Yeah.
Wait, we
So,
need it again.
Akwesi is his first name.
Akwesi?
And then his last name is Opoku Achampong with a hyphen.
I love it.
And we like to say around the media in West Virginia, when Akwesi go crazy.
Akwesi go
Because
crazy.
his former head coach, head coach Luke Samples, who's not with Spring Mills anymore.
Akwesi go crazy.
Dude, this kid, he's only 5'7", but he plays like Allen Iverson. Like
wow,
when he, you know what I mean? Like
that's an awesome.
When they say
name,
pound for
man.
pound, who was the best? But, Akwesi's great. So then you got Morgantown in 3rd. I think Parkersburg South was 4th, and then University 5th. That rounds out the top 5
So
in
we've
Quad
got
A right now.
2 in the top 5, well represented, right?
Yeah, and then it'll be both teams are deep. We talked about University having all these football players. Morgantown doesn't have that same problem. We really shouldn't call it a problem, but they don't have that same situation. Basketball at Morgantown is basketball at Morgantown. If you're, they have a few players. Maddox Twig plays on the
I was going to ask,
team.
is Maddox Twig?
He's decent. Jaden Smalls plays.
Okay.
He actually gets a
Jaden
lot of playing
Smalls,
time for
yeah.
them. But other than that, there aren't any other football players from the Morgantown team that play on the basketball team.
When you are good, when you have a good football high school team, that turnaround is quick now for basketball.
You know what Maddox Twig told me after the championship game?
What's that?
So I mean, he had just beaten Martinsburg, right?
Okay.
So it's Friday afternoon, right?
What do you say? I'm heading to the Bahamas.
Hadn't even been in the locker room.
2
yet.
o'clock, 3 o'clock. Hadn't even gotten to the locker room yet. So I said, hey, you going to take any time off? You get any break here? And he goes, break? I got basketball practice at 8 a.m. I got
You see
basketball
that
practice at
turnaround's
8 a.m. the
quick,
next day.
He proved it because they put a picture up with all the three football players, I think, that play on the team, and they were all, hugging him and saying, congratulations, and there he was in the middle of the picture on Saturday morning.
I'm telling you this right now. If I am at a game and I see Maddox throw one down, you'll never see a fat guy jump up and down and celebrate like me.
Yeah, so just and I asked Joe Schmidl about that post game against after the Parkersburg game. I was like, you've done it before. They've had good football teams in the past. I think 2019 or 2021, something like that. They were 10-0 in the regular season. But he hadn't had this for a while.
Yeah,
and I asked him, what is that like? These guys just had a historic season on the football field. Do they have a little pep in their step when they come to practice?
What are the hell?
And he said, despite them not having a ball in their hands for only 2 weeks, he thought that they shot the ball really well. He didn't like how they shot it in their scrimmages. He said they shot it really well. There's something to be said about coming off of a really positive season in another sport, and then that carrying over as far as momentum and confidence and all that good stuff, carrying over into the football or the basketball court.
Well, the transition is from the athlete's perspective.
Right.
When you come off the football field and you get boxed out for the first time, you say, "Hey, wait, I can't put this guy in the 5th row."
Right? Yeah, that's a foul.
Yeah.
On the girls' side, Morgantown High has gone to the state finals the last 2 years, right?
Last 3 years, actually.
Last 3 years.
Yes.
Finished as the state champ and runner-up twice, right?
Yes, correct.
Kaylee Kellogg, I know you've mentioned her before a few weeks ago with the injury. Well, what's the latest with her? It was a knee injury. She's going to be out for the whole year?
Yeah,
right?
she tore her ACL, unfortunately, over the summer, playing some summer ball with the Mohegans, I believe. And she's probably almost 6 months post-op now, but I don't believe she's going to return. I think she put something on social media not too long ago that said "see you next year," and it was pictures of her in her uniform. So while that's very unfortunate, but she absolutely is doing well according to her mom's Facebook updates and stuff.
We wish you speedy.
The shameful part of that, well, not shameful, but the hard part about that is she was probably going to win Player of the Year.
Now that's what I heard. Yeah, that's what I heard.
She would have had it the last 2 years if it wasn't for Alexis Bordas, who played for Wheeling Park, who's now the leading scorer at Duquesne right now. Actually,
unbelievable.
So, yeah, it's. Alexis Alexis didn't. Her team, Wheeling Park, didn't even make the state tournament last year, and she was still a no-brainer for the award. That's just how good she was. So, but yeah, Justin's right. She was probably hands down the favorite for the.
So she has another year though. After.
She does. She's a junior currently, but is going to miss her entire junior year on a team that's very deep. Morgantown is very talented this year, but they only have one senior. So next year they're going to get all these people back plus Kaylee Kellogg back. So we'll be looking forward to seeing her back on the court.
Speedy and quick recovery.
Now, here's the real question. So we've been talking hoops. Is there, when you look at the winter sports at our local schools, is there a better team more positioned for a state title than the University High wrestling team?
Ooh, good question.
Did the hoops team have a chance at a state title more than the UHS wrestling team does?
Well, I'm not going to pick against back-to-back state champions.
You never want to pick against wrestlers either. Those guys are crazy, man.
They'll choke you out.
They'll choke you out, man.
Sure, they'll get you in the
other
way.
My boy Anthony Fucello he was a wrestler at Morgantown High, and I used to watch that WWE, WWF. I still do. I tried to. He used all my strength against me and turned me into a pretzel and choked me out, and I lost the contact. I couldn't even tap out.
Yeah.
Couldn't do that.
You couldn't see.
I couldn't see.
Well, it's funny.
I couldn't breathe. I couldn't
we always
see.
had the argument. I was a basketball player in school,
Okay.
and we always had the argument. It's like wrestling is harder than basketball. No, basketball is harder than wrestling. It's like, well, which one really is harder? But no, I think the Hawks are. They won't have Brody Kaler because obviously he's sitting out after the football injury.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. He was a state champion as a freshman last year at 165.
Is he out this season?
He's sitting out. I think he might.
He's sitting out the rest of the school year.
He's sitting out track season as well. He's a really good
Gotcha.
sprinter. He's a
So he's
state
just
meet.
going full recovery.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's it's a good idea for him.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. No,
The
absolutely.
kid never gets a break, so
Absolutely. No,
he's going to get to
absolutely.
watch his brother wrestle for WVU, his freshman, all that good stuff. But yeah, their wrestling team still just as strong. They have a lot of seniors this year. The last few years, they'd only had one or two losses when it came to graduation. They did lose Brock Kaler, probably the best wrestler in school history. Only one loss in 185 matches. He's at WVU now, starting for WVU, who are a top 25 team.
That's awesome.
So, but they're still good top to bottom. I think they will have another shot for the state title, the team state title, and they'll also have a few wrestlers to have shot at individual state titles as well. So,
Legend, I'm trying to think of your question. Who's got it harder, the wrestlers or the
You know-
basketball? Well, those wrestlers, man, they condition, but those basketball players, you got those run, touch the line, come back, run, touch the line. You taste blood. You
I
taste
know, at
blood.
least basketball players can eat Thanksgiving dinner. So,
Having grown up with two younger brothers who wrestled,
wrestling
have it-
hands
Yeah,
down,
mine did
right?
as well.
Wrestlers have it much tougher for the simple fact that basketball players can eat whatever they want.
Yeah.
So I'm already out.
I mean, we're in there saying grace for Thanksgiving. My brother's got the trash bag on the treadmill,
Oh,
so it's
my
like, what
God.
are we doing, man?
Unless there's a super heavyweight 300+ class, I'm cooked.
Yeah. So,
Sheesh.
but also, I wanted to give another shout out on the wrestling real quick. I didn't mean to interrupt Justin here.
No,
but,
shout out.
Yeah,
bro.
here's
this
the
is
shout-out,
this is
man.
also
You're the legend,
the
bro.
girls athlete of the week this week. Ava Turner from Preston High School. She is a female wrestler at Preston High. Made a huge
Nice.
name for herself last year. Her older brother Cole is a state champion from Preston, now wrestling for Fairmont State. She traveled to Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio,
Cuyahoga
to
Falls?
Walsh Jesuit High School over the weekend for the Women of Ironman tournament. If you know anything about high school wrestling, the Ironman tournament is the most prestigious tournament in the country every year, and girls wrestling has obviously grown over the past few years, and now they have the Women of Ironman. Ava won at the 135-pound weight class the title at the Women of Ironman.
She won it all?
She won it all. She went 5-0 through the weekend.
Let's go, Ava.
She beat Ella Daring from Missouri 7-4.
So this is a national, like you said, the most prestigious.
the Ironman is the most prestigious prep
and we
wrestling
had
in the country.
Someone from Ava.
Ava Turner. She also went last year, and I think
What?
she finished maybe third or fourth. Came back this year and just dominated. Went all the way through the bracket. Didn't lose all weekend. Brought the title back home to Preston County.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Ava. Well done. Just amazing. She's going to be a name to watch not only this season but for the next 2 years. I mean, she's only a sophomore.
I'm just impressed that we got Cuyahoga Falls.
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah,
on the,
okay.
Yeah,
podcast.
hey, I practiced that a couple
Good thing
times.
Legend said it. If it was me, man, oh goodness.
Michael, real quick. Earlier this week, University High punter Jimmy Gregg made history by
Yeah.
becoming the first punter to win the Walker Award in the 12-year history of the award. The Walker Award, for those who don't know, is the Special Teams Award.
Yes.
Over the history of the award, it's mostly gone to kick returners, punt returners. A couple kickers, place kickers have
Yep.
won it. Jimmy Gregg
Yep.
is the first punter to win the Walker Award.
Yeah.
And he got another special achievement this
Yeah,
week.
yeah. He was also named first team All-American, I believe, in the country.
First team All-American.
First team All-American in the country, and to my knowledge, the
And
only
he didn't have to tell the guy from
You didn't have to
USA
lie.
Yeah.
No.
What, you can do that without lying about your stats?
And to my knowledge, I think the only other player in history of West Virginia high school football, now I could be wrong, but I think it's Randy Moss is the only other All-American.
Wow.
If we're just talking football, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to go back a ways, but yeah, I mean, that's that's pretty good company to be in.
I mean, the guy had almost 50 punts and didn't have a touchback one time, and he had 4 of them that landed on the one. So
That's just so hard to
It's
process.
hard to process. It's
I
like-
think about punting a football. If I hit the football, even make contact.
yeah.
It's
His coach had a really cool quote in the Walker Award story. If you guys get a chance to read it, it came out on Tuesday.
This is Coach Snyder.
Coach Snyder,
Okay.
he said,
friend of the show.
friend of the show, he said something about Jimmy. It was really cool that he has these different tilts, is what he said, or different angles that he kicks the ball. And he compared them to golf clubs. And he said he has his wedges, he has his
No
irons,
way.
he has his driver, and And it really kind of, if you're a golfer, even if you're not a golfer, like that just put it into perspective of what he actually does as a punter.
It like
and
makes
it's
it
not
a
just
science.
going out there and kicking the
You're
damn
not just
ball.
going out there and booting a football.
He's hitting it, like it matters the angle, it matters where you're hitting it on your foot, like, you know, wherever he's standing. Like to drop a ball on the one, I mean, you got to be probably at midfield at least to kick it 50 yards, but to get it to stop.
Like why do you even do that?
I mean, it was, when we were in the All-State meeting, a lot of people were kind of ready to give this award to another player. I'm not going to put any names out there, obviously, but and I said, hold on, guys. We need to vote on this. Jimmy Gregg probably had the best season you're ever going to see a punter have in this state, past and present and future.
Yeah.
You know, so we voted on it, and Jimmy ended up getting it by one vote. So
by one vote,
shout out to
nice.
the leg. Just a great punter and even better human. You know, he actually finished his second year of campaigning for Alex's Lemonade Stand, which is a child cancer support fundraiser.
Wow.
And he raised over, I think, $8,000 this year.
Last year was over
the
total on that.
Yeah,
right?
last year was over $7,000. So together, he's raised over $15,000.
So not just
by punting,
not just a great player,
right?
A great
even
person.
better human. So shout out to him. He's actually going to early enroll to Syracuse. He's done at university after this semester, and he's heading off to Syracuse in January, the beginning of January. Wish him the best of luck.
He's going to be punting in the dome.
In the dome, the
Right.
carrier.
Don't have to worry about the weather,
man.
you know?
Right.
Oh, thank goodness, man. Those New York winters. Hey, the leg. You think best nickname in West Virginia?
It's up there. There have been some good ones though.
There's been some good ones,
but
they called me the Blob.
Doesn't really rhyme with your name, but we can stick it if it needs.
And so, hey, the Kennedy Award is announced later this week. Morgantown High quarterback.
That's next week.
Yep.
Oh, later next week. My apologies. So the Kennedy Award is announced later next week. Morgantown High quarterback Maddox Twigg was also named the J.R. House Award winner as the state's top quarterback earlier today. Does that make him a favorite for the Kennedy?
Michael, I'll let you go ahead and take this one. I'll tell you how I voted. I don't know if you want to release your ballot, but
I don't mind at all, really. I mean, the voting's already done. It's not going to change now. So, I mean, I had Twig number 1, and then I had Brad Mosser from Princeton number 2.
A little behind the scenes, seeing what's going on. Okay,
then, I actually made this public on my Twitter, too, so it's really not a big deal. And then my third was actually Brennan Wack for Wheeling Park, the running back, who obviously broke over 25 records at that school. Broke Boogie Johnson's records, which obviously he's a legendary
That would never
back.
be
Right. Their head coach actually told me last year, Chris Doherty, he played with Boogie Johnson, and he told me, quote, I did not think anyone would ever do that.
How could you?
So that's pretty cool for your head coach who played with the other guy and now coaching this guy.
That's
so
awesome.
That was my ballot. And I would probably have, if I had to go, they only released the top 3. You only vote for 3, but if I had to go 4 or 5, maybe Jaden Black, who was the freshman running back from GW. He had a really impressive year. And then after that, I'd probably go with Brian Dick or Boston Todd from Martinsburg. One of those two guys. So that was my Kennedy ballot. But yeah.
You know what's funny? I sent in an original Kennedy ballot, and then after talking about it with the legend, I called Jim Workman, who's one of the chairs of the West Virginia Sports Writers Association. I was like, Jim, I got to change my ballot, and he goes, yeah, it's still, you still got time. So I changed my ballot. I sent in 2 ballots. One was official. One was thrown away. My ballot was the exact same as yours. I have reservations about all 3 of the picks, though. And that here they are. Maddox Twigg was my number 1 choice at Morgantown High. He's just a sophomore. There's only been 1 sophomore to ever win the award.
Yep.
And there's a reason for that.
Yep.
It's very hard for a sophomore who's still got 2 more years of eligibility to beat out juniors and seniors for the thinking that, well, if he's this good now, he'll win it later down the road.
Right.
I think that's how a lot of voters feel. I don't think that's exactly the right way to feel.
Yep.
But I think Maddox, that'll be what the voters think about Maddox Twigg.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he can win it. My number 2 choice was Bradley Mosser, just like you, young man from Princeton, who is really an athlete. He's listed as a wide receiver, but he's also more of a running back, right? I mean, in the state championship game, he did more damage out of the backfield, right?
Yeah, half of his total yards all season pretty much came from, he had like 80-some carries, 90 carries on the year or something like that, so absolutely.
I have a hard time thinking he could win the Kennedy when he might not even be the best player at his position.
Valid. That's valid.
Which which technically is wide receiver, and I could make the argument that Hayden George at University High is the best wide receiver in the state of West Virginia.
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
absolutely.
And Brennan Wack, we've talked about this a number of times, was injured.
Yeah, he was
correct.
Brennan Wack may very well have been the best player in the state of West Virginia. And I saw Boston Todd at Martinsburg. I saw Brian Dick at Martinsburg. Two very good at. I don't think they were.
No.
I mean, even though they beat Wack in Wheeling Park in the quarterfinals, I think Wack might have been the best player.
Oh, yeah, he still had like 230 yards against them, I'm pretty sure. And like we talk about all the time, I kind of mentioned this when I was talking about Twig and Mosser a couple weeks ago being a 1A, 1B for me, is when you take those guys off of the team, what happens?
Great point.
You know, that's my argument when it comes to a tie like this. And Brennan Wack's the same way. We did take him off that team, right? We took him off that team for 2 weeks, and they almost got beat by Fairmont Senior. So they only beat him by a touchdown. So we did see what Wack did and how important he was. And
to that point, the same thing with Twig. You took him out of
100%.
You took him out of the state championship game for what, 3 possessions?
And they got negative 10 yards.
And they got negative 10 yards.
That's been my argument all year is, you take these guys off the field, what happens? And I'll say it again, I've said it a million times. You take Twig off the field, Morgantown is not the same. You
not the same.
Take Mosser off the field, Princeton's probably still at least in the semifinals of the state tournament. So that's just my take.
Who was the previous sophomore to win it?
Oh, it was J.R. House.
J.R. House.
Your guy.
Who
the
else?
one and only sophomore to ever win the Kennedy Award.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the following year was your buddy Chris Urer won it.
Yeah.
So J.R. won it in 96. Chris Urer won it in 97. And then J.R. House and Quincy Wilson tied in 98.
What a string of names. I feel like we're getting back to that. We're getting some household names here. I love it.
Yeah, and speaking of House, like Justin said, Twig also was voted the House Award winner, which released this morning on Thursday. So congratulations to him on that. And, I talked to him. I wrote the story for that for the Sports Writers Association. And he was surprised, honestly. He said he wasn't really expecting that to happen. And obviously he could play any position, plays both sides of the ball, but we talked obviously most about his offense and as a quarterback. And what really impressed me, like we're saying he's a sophomore, obviously he's only 16 years old. But when I talked to him about where he thought that he improved the most as a quarterback this year, I didn't expect him to tell me that it was his pre-snap reads.
Wow.
And he explained a play in the Martinsburg game. It wasn't the touchdown to Tanzer George, but it set up a touchdown where he threw it right on the sideline and Tanzer made it was a breadbasket catch. And he held on to it in traffic. It was a great play. But Maddox brought that play up on the phone to me and said that was a pre-snap read. I looked at the defense, I saw what we had, and I knew that I would have Tanzer on that play. And I just like hearing a 16-year-old high school kid in West Virginia playing football tell you that their pre-snap reads is where they thought they got better in a season where they just won a state championship. I was like, dude, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's awesome to hear
awesome.
you. I can't wait when you're a senior to tell me what you learned.
Imagine what he's going to say.
Because at that point, you might be putting me through John Gruden or something.
You might be in the school.
I'm going to have the whiteboard out, But that just really, I had to bring that up because that really clicked in my mind. When we were doing that little interview, I was like, that kind of perked my ears up hearing him saying.
Kind of takes you back a bit,
it does.
He's a 16-year-old kid.
He didn't talk about, I got bigger in the weight room.
16-year-old man, I should say.
Yeah, he didn't talk about the weight room. He didn't talk about the typical things you would probably hear a football player.
Yeah.
He talked about his pre-snap reads, and I was like, that is insane to me. So you probably won't get 5 quarterbacks in the state telling you that they worked on that this year, or they saw that get better. I don't know. That just impressed me.
Here's the thing about the Kennedy Award, and I kind of wanted to get into this regional kind of breakdown.
Okay.
This is how basically your winners are decided from year to year. Outside of the year where there's an obvious winner, you know what I mean, like a Randy Moss,
gotcha,
so on and so forth. So I have no idea, but I'm just going to guess the regional breakdowns this year. So like the northern panhandle probably belonged to WAC. The north central area of West Virginia, the Morgantown all the way down to say Buchanan, the voters in that region, you probably kind of split them between Gavin Wilson, right, of Bridgeport, or Gavin Williams of Bridgeport, and Twig, right? So Twig, I'm assuming, got a lot of the votes in the Morgantown, Fairmont, Clarksburg areas, and obviously Williams from Bridgeport had a heck of a year, probably got a lot of votes in that area as well. Eastern Panhandle probably belonged to Boston Todd,
right,
or Brian Dick of Martinsburg, or even Max Anderson probably got some votes.
Yeah, Xavier.
The southern part of the state you probably, down in the Beckley area.
Coalfields down there.
Coalfields.
Yeah.
Probably belonged to Mosser. You could even make
Yep.
the argument that, Mosser might have gotten a lot of Charleston votes.
Yep.
So basically what it does, it kind of comes down to the areas that didn't exactly have a candidate.
Good point.
Right. Huntington, Huntington voters, for one. I mean, obviously Huntington had maybe the best team in Quad A, so they probably voted for some Huntington guys. But, where did they put Twig? And where did they put Mosser?
Right.
Where did they put Brennan Wack? And where did they...
100%.
That's kind of... You could kind of sort of compare it to the Heisman.
Yeah, that's what I was just going
Right.
to say. It's similar. It seems like the Heisman.
But it's very much, from a statewide perspective, that's kind of how the Kennedy shakes down. If you're from an area of the state that doesn't necessarily have a candidate, how do those areas vote? And that's kind of what the Kennedy comes down to year after year.
And you know what's interesting? Jim Workman told us when he revealed the Kennedy voting that there were and mind you, there were, I think, 36 voters for the Kennedy, and we each named 3 players. He said there were 25 different names listed on all 36 ballots.
That's pretty amazing.
That
is
blew my
proving your
mind.
point, Jim.
And listen, I'm going to say this on record, and I don't want anybody to get mad at me.
No.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sorry.
It is.
I'm saying this. I don't care. It's ridiculous that
Mike
they were
was giving a hot take.
No,
I love it.
am,
I love it.
because
No,
and listen, I'm going to say some things. I'm not going to drop names, but I've talked to some media from some of those areas that Justin was talking about, and their ballots were asinine to me. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say what their ballots were. I'm not going to say who they were, but the fact that some of the people that you voted for were on, and some of the people that you didn't were off of your ballot is ridiculous. And the fact that 25 names were from 36 people were listed for the Kennedy Award is not right. There should be at most 15, if that.
If that's still a high
You
number.
cannot tell me that there are 15 to 20 kids in this state that have legit arguments for that award. I'm sorry. And I think that's where the voting is getting a little misconstrued. Is I understand that you want to represent your kids, the ones that you cover, the kids that you always their parents, you know that. I get it. I experience it with Morgantown and University and all these. I want to represent those guys, the best guys and gals and coaches, the best that I can. But I also know when I should do something.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of what I'm saying. That's my take on it.
Legend, let me
25 names is ridiculous.
Michael!
I love it. I love it. Hey,
I don't care.
Legend, let me ask you this. Do you think there should be a finalist group of maybe 5 and
Now,
the
here's what
writers
needs-
vote on that?
That would take
No.
too much time.
It would
That's
take too much time.
Gotcha.
Now, what needs to
Okay.
change is, I don't know. What needs to change is the voters need to do a little due diligence and do a little research.
Gotcha.
One of the biggest arguments I heard, and I'm not going to name names, but someone left Maddox Twig off their top 3, and they put Tavion Wilson from Huntington and Jaden Black on there from George Washington on their top 3. His excuse to not having these people on the ballot, not having Twig on his ballot and having Tavion Wilson and Jaden Black is that he had seen them play and that he covers these people. And in my opinion, I'm like, guys, you got to, if you're going to vote on this, you got to get online. You got to look for these guys' films. Got to. I don't cover Brad Mosser. I haven't seen him play in person until the state championship. But I made sure that I looked
you did
online
your due diligence.
and knew how good he was.
I'll be honest. The original ballot that I sent in, it had Tavion Wilson, which is the Huntington quarterback, and I had left off Brad Mosser.
Oh wow!
Now that was my original ballot because I wanted to include a kid from Huntington because I thought Huntington was the best team in the state. He's the quarterback, the best athlete, and a hell of a player.
Yeah. I mean,
Signed to
he's
Clemson.
amazing.
Signed to Clemson.
Amazing player.
I mean-
amazing player.
After talking about it with Michael, looking at stats, doing a little bit of research like he's talking about, that's when I switched. That's when I called up Jim, said, "Hey, I need to switch my ballot." And he said, "Yeah, it's still early. You can still do it." And that's when I took off Tavion Wilson and put Brad Mosser on there. But you could make the argument. I don't know about what'd you say, 25?
25 different names
25
from
different
36
names.
voters.
I kind of tend to agree. That's a lot. That's a little bit too much. But you could definitely make the case for 8.
Yeah, you can make the case for
absolutely.
8.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, I said 15. I mean, I don't even think, but there's no way that you have 20 kids or more in the state in all classes that have a Kennedy argument. I mean, we're talking about the player of the year, the best player.
The Heisman of West Virginia.
Like, there shouldn't be more than 10 kids listed on that, and that's what I'm talking about.
The one thing I would do is give more choices on the ballot.
That's fair. I would
Give a fourth place, a fifth place instead of just the top three.
Gotcha.
Now
That's
the
fair.
Heisman is just top three. They kind of follow the Heisman model. When you vote for the Heisman, you have three choices, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then they tally up the points and the votes. With the Kennedy, because not that it's more spread out, but because you have a lot of different candidates, and if you are in a situation like if you're in a part of the state where there's maybe a really good player in your area, but he might not be statewide worthy contention of an award, but you want to mention him, but you want to put him on your list, well, you can put him fourth, or you could put him fifth.
Sure.
You don't have that choice right now. You have three choices.
That's a good point.
And I think, if they spread that out to like 4, 5, 6 choices, I think that would kind of alleviate some of the issues.
Another thing is when we tally these votes, the Kennedy Award is determined before the state championship games happen.
Before the state
championship games happen. And if that happens after the state championship games, I think a lot of those ballots are different when it comes to Maddox Twig.
Mosser had a heck of a game in the state championship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I also just mentioned someone who didn't even have Twig top 3 after the semifinals when he scored 6 touchdowns, and after the quarterfinals when he accounted for basically his whole team's offensive yards. And I digress, but that's what I'm talking about. Is if he's not even top 3 on your ballot after the semifinals, and then he goes out and beats Martinsburg himself, basically. What are we, that, and plus the Kennedy, we're talking about, the Kennedy Award isn't even going to release until after Christmas. Why couldn't we vote after the championships and tally all that up?
No, it's a good question. I don't know.
Not that it would change it this year, but those matter. Those championships,
they do.
Those are moments. Those are career-defining moments.
Dare I say the most important game of the season? I mean, you would think.
The player of the year in basketball, we don't choose that until after the championship games. So, that's a big deal.
I hate how I keep going.
See, I always thought the basketball players of the year came out before the state tournament.
No, the all-state meetings happen the Sunday after the tournament. So, I don't know how they did it in the past, but since I've been on the Sports Writers Association for 4 years, we meet on Sunday morning after the tournaments, and then we do all-state, all the stuff then. So, yeah, it needs to be consistent. Like I said a couple weeks ago, baseball. We chose the player of the year before the state tournament a couple years ago. It was a pitcher from Hedgesville. He was 10-0, point something ERA.
Yeah.
He goes out and gives up 18 hits against GW, and they get beat. So it's and then a couple weeks later, it comes out that he's player of the year when somebody from GW had a great tournament, and he could have probably had the award himself. So that's the kind of thing I'm thinking about.
Well, the flip side of that argument is that a tournament should not garner an entire season's worth of accomplishment.
That's fair,
right.
100%. I mean, that's the tough part. So. I don't know.
Michael,
is there
today.
I love it, man. Man, Michael
I feel like
came
I've
in
had
on
this
fire.
stuff bottled up inside for
I
a few
love
weeks.
it, bro. We need
Let
more
it out,
of this,
buddy.
man.
Now
Let
that
it
football
out.
season's almost over, I'm
Yeah,
just going
we
to let
let
it
it
loose.
out. And everything you said was valid.
Hey, I almost feel bad that we have to end this now.
I
man.
don't want to, man.
Yeah, I'm going to say see you next
Let's
week.
stay.
Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today. We thank you for listening in. We want to thank Michael Griffith for getting hot.
Yeah, I appreciate you, legend.
Hey,
Got
Matt.
me fired up, man.
Matt, why don't you put us out of our misery, take us home.
I got you, guys. Hey, thanks for joining us today on the Extra Medium Sports Podcast, which is brought to you by the Hotel Morgan. Select a wedding venue where you can host your perfect ceremony and grand reception in one of our 2 magnificent ballrooms. From the restored historic architecture to the stylish, comfortable guest rooms for your party, Hotel Morgan provides an environment where every guest feels cared for in the heart of downtown Morgantown. Now booking 2026 dates in our brand new 8th floor ballroom. Lastly, my friends, this is the Extra Medium Sports Broadcast where couches are safe, but the takes are on fire, especially the Legends takes. Thank you for joining us. We'll see y'all next week.